Alright, I'm going to be doing the VOD analysis of Luminosity Gaming vs. Code7. Before we get into team compositions, I just want to talk a little bit about double healing and why pros use it and why it's so effective. With the Mercy Lucio combination, Mercy gives 50 health per second to a single unit, while Lucio gives 12.5 health per second within 30 meters to the whole team. So that's 62.5 health per second to a single target and 12.5 for the whole team. When Lucio amps it up, it'll be 90 for a single target, 90 health per second for a single target, and 40 for the rest of the team. So you can see why this is really, really strong. It reduces risk. It gives for a really, really good team fight, and allows you to react. What I mean by that is, for example, if you have a Pharah who deals 120 damage per rocket hit you on a 250 health hero, you'll have 130 health. So then you get healed for 63. Now you have 193 health. Get hit from Pharah again, 120 damage. So now you're down to 73. Get healed again for 63, and then you get hit. Then now you have 136 health. And if you get hit again, you're still alive. So this is really important because it allows you to be able to react, call out positions quicker, and survive. And this will allow you to make better decisions, because now that you still have a teammate alive, now the teammate walks away into a hallway, gets completely healed up, and then comes back out and they're fine. So it reduces a lot of the risk and allows you to make decisions. So when we look at the team compositions, it's important to realize when you're breaking down a team composition, don't break it down hero and hero and hero and just say, okay, let's counter each hero that they have. You want to counter the whole composition. So what I mean by that is, on Luminosity's side, they have 2 tanks, 1 healer, 1 utility, and 2 damage from long range. So when we look at this, we have to look at the hero's strength and what they're trying to do here. So we can see that Reinhardt up in front is going to keep the payload there and make sure that it doesn't get through, and make sure his teammates don't get any damage taken when the shield is up. You're going to have Roadhog, who is an amazing hero. He can one-shot combo a lot of the heroes. He has self-sustain, his ultimate knockback, just really solid hero. Alongside with Reinhardt, of course. You're going to see Reinhardt and Roadhog almost every game. So now we have the Symmetra to provide the teleport. And the reason why this is so important and so big, you'll always see, not always, you'll generally see Symmetra used on the first point. And that is because it's a really easy chokehold, and you just want to maintain that chokehold and just, get the enemy team to not get the first one. So she's used just mainly for her teleporter. She has some turrets that can slow and zap, and they can use those in the choke points. And it's a pretty solid hero on the first defense. You have Mercy, of course, for the res, for the full team res if everyone dies, and then you have the pre-buffed McCree. He just recently got buffed again. So the reason why they're using McCree here is because of his ultimate. He can zone people pretty well. If you don't use your ultimate, you can get if you use your ultimate and then don't click anything, you get a 50 refund back, which is pretty strong. Just because of the amount of time you use for your ultimate, those seconds definitely matter. So when you try to get the payload in. And then he also has a stun and just a pretty good long range hero. You also have Junkrat, who has the traps that can keep someone in place for 4 seconds, has the mines to displace people or displace him so that he can move back into position, get into high ground. And you have his AoE damage. As you can see, he's just going to keep shooting up and over the Reinhardt and just keep trying to damage the shield and damage the enemy team. So when we look at this composition as a whole, we can see that this is definitely choke point oriented. And the reason why I say that is because you can see that Reinhardt's up there. You can see the position of Roadhog. You know, he's going to try to kill anyone who's out of position. And he's going to try to make sure that no one gets past the payload. You have the Symmetra who get the teleporter in if everyone dies. And then you have the 2 long range heroes to just keep spamming and don't let them in. So when we look at Code7 side, we see they have 3 tanks, 2 healers, 1 damage. I really like this team comp. And the reason why is because the only real super consistent damage is going to be the Pharah. So it's technically a it's a composition based around Pharah. And the reason why I say that is because you have the triple tanks to push the payload through with the healer. And then you're going to have Mercy on Pharah, damage boosting and healing in the air. So it's really important because this composition won't really work unless the Pharah is good. And this shows me that Code7 has a lot of trust in their players, and it is well paid off. And so you can see that if, for example, if you kill the Pharah, you're just going to have 3 tanks, 2 healers. You're not going to have a crazy amount of damage. Of course, all those 3 tanks still do a lot of damage when they're up close, but you won't have any long-range poke, which is really bad for them. So when you look at this composition as a whole, what they're trying to do is they're trying to just move the payload. They're just going to try to disrupt the enemy team and cause a lot of chaos. And they're just going to try to poke from afar with their Pharah. So it's a pretty good composition because it deals with close range mostly, but a little bit of long range. So the long range is key. So I'm going to play it up and just talk a little bit about what the teams are doing here. You can see that Junkrat is spamming his grenades in that choke point. And McCree is also spamming in that choke point, just trying to get as much damage off as you can. It's really important. You can see a Symmetra turret right there to help if they push all the way through. And you can see that they just walked away out of sight. So you know that they're going to come through the other choke point. And you can see that Junkrat is responding to that with throwing up the grenades. Now this is really bad for Code7 because they're going to speed boost in with Luminosity Gaming. They're going to speed boost in with Code7. Another reason why double healing is so good because they can speed boost and still have heal. And you can see the effectiveness of Reinhardt go down on Luminosity side because you can see that he now has been pushed back all the way back here, which means he can effectively be flanked away from on the side and reduces a lot of his power. And you can see that now the damage on Luminosity Gaming is going to be pushed back, so that they're not going to be as effective. And this is really important with the Roadhog flank. See, when I said that they were going to disrupt the enemy team, this is exactly what I mean. Roadhog does a phenomenal job in Code7 disrupting the enemy team here. You can see that he got the hook off of McCree, and then he ended up disrupting them with the ult. They would have really won this fight really hard if not for the Junkrat ultimate on Luminosity side. It was a really amazing ultimate, which really messed up Code7. But they would have definitely won the fight if not for that. They're basically causing a lot of pressure on Luminosity because they're so long range, and soon enough Code7 will break it because of their team composition. They're just going to roll through and just kill everyone. See, as you can see, Code7 is starting to have the pace of the game. They just roll through right away, save their ultimates. Really amazing play right there. So even though Pharah dies on Code7's team, it makes it okay because Luminosity Mercy died. So this means that Mercy on Code7 can always resurrect Pharah, but Luminosity, once they're dead, they're dead. The only hope they have is the teleporter now, which is what their team comp is. You know, if they die and Mercy dies, they still have the teleporter to get through. But Code7 deals with their team composition deals up with up close and in your face. So even with the teleporter, they're still not going to be able to do much, because on Luminosity side, they're going to have long range. They need to be long range. If they're up close, Code7 has the advantage here. As you can see, Code7 got their Pharaoh back through the resurrection of Mercy, and they just clean house. They did an amazing job. And the worst part here is that they're able to get back with the teleporter. Mercy dies once again on Luminosity side, which is really bad for them. So they died twice. The teleporter really didn't help them there. And this is why. You can see this is super important. We have the Roadhog flanking on Code7's part. And the reason why this is so important is because you want to be able to keep pressure. You're basically, what happened was they realized that they have the tempo of the game, and Roadhog's going to come over and keep the pressure on Luminosity side. And the reason why this is really important is because if you keep the pressure, it allows your opponents not to be able to set the best defense, because now they have to deal with you. They can't just completely pack up into one point and then protect it if you're disrupting them, and they have to deal with you and kill you. So it's really good on Code7's Roadhog to keep flanking and keep the pressure on. You can see throughout this whole game he's just going to keep pressuring over and over again, which is super important, especially with their team composition. So you can see that Luminosity switched to the Reaper, which is important since they have triple tanks. But this is the part that I really like on Code7. They get the Widowmaker. So here's the part that gets me and makes me super excited. So Code7 has this composition, and it's rolling through, and it's really good. They're not one track minded. They don't think, okay, well, we just won that, so obviously we're just gonna go through and kill Luminosity Gaming with this team comp, we win. Okay. They say, all right, listen, we had a good team composition. We have to keep making switches to make sure our team composition is still relevant. So they switch out the Zarya for the Widowmaker, and now they want to get some picks. And you can see that this place is a lot more long range, so they need more long range. They can't just have the Pharah anymore. They can't just go triple tanks, because you can see that there's high ground and there's low ground. So now since it adds that second plane to it, you're going to need a little bit more utility and long range damage. So the Widowmaker was really smart, and the part that's really smart is they went and changed it before they even got into this fight. So because they switched and changed it before they even got into this fight, they're not going to waste precious time. And now time is super important in these tournaments because it's stopwatch. So you don't want to waste any time. And they made the switch before, so now the Reaper pick is kind of useless on them. Not useless completely, since they have two double tanks, but it makes it less effective. And you can see that Luminosity didn't get their defense because of that teleporter. Because they went through and died twice, they weren't able to get this defense. So actually, because they lost it so quick, it actually hurt them really badly, because you can see that they're now just trying to move in. This isn't a optimal defense that they have on Luminosity side, and Code7 is doing a phenomenal job because they're pushing the payload all the while right now, and they're just keeping the pressure. This is what they're supposed to do. This is why their comp is so good. You can see the Widowmaker is just constantly pressuring them and just making sure that they can't stay on the high ground without having pressure. Like, yeah, they did get the Widowmaker, which is important, but on the Luminosity side, the Mercy died, which is even more important, because now they can't resurrect. And you can see that they just clean house. Luminosity was just pressured so much at the first point, and when they came back with the teleporter, that they just got screwed up on the second defense. And Code7 did a good job on staying proactive and keeping the pressure up, especially with the Roadhog, to make it so that they couldn't get their second defense. And you can see once again Roadhog going in, keeping that defense. Keeping the pressure. You can see, look how far ahead he is. This is so amazing because he's constantly keeping the pressure. And why is that pick so important? Because now they don't have the Reinhardt. They lost. They lost one of the most effective members on the team because he can keep the shield and he can allow Luminosity Gaming to get damage off without taking damage because they're Reinhardt shields. So now that they lost one of their tanks, they're not going to be as effective. And you can see that it just was a complete win. And you can see Code7 just constantly keeping the pressure. And they're staying proactive with their picks on the Widowmaker and switching up their team composition so that it doesn't allow Luminosity to react to their team composition before. You can see that Luminosity is trying to do what they can, but the Roadhog is just creating so much pressure that they have to fall back or else they're going to run into issues. And you can see that they just popped the ultimate with Widowmaker to get the position of Luminosity. And this is so big right here. They just got another pick. Code7, phenomenal job. They keep getting picks on Luminosity Gaming. And this is even more important. Look where Luminosity is. They're all huddled up in the inside of this room. They want to be where Widowmaker is. They want to have that defense. They don't have any defense. The only defense they had was in the very first part of the game. They lost the second defense real quick, and now they lost the third defense. They're already almost pushed in. They're just so clumped in because Code7 is so good in this map right now. They're really playing to their team composition strength and their character strength. And you can see, once again, Roadhog going in for the flank. This is so beautiful because now it creates pressure, a lot of pressure on Luminosity's side because now they have to deal with the payload. And you have a lot of people calling out targets on the payload. And now you have a Roadhog coming in. And now they're going to have to start splitting their focus on the team, on Roadhog and on the payload. And this creates problems in the comms because, especially with teams that haven't been together for so long, because who do you follow? You have two people saying different targets. Now, which person do you follow? Do you have a main shot caller on your team? Are you all shot callers? Because this is what the problem happens with shot calling. If you're the only shot caller and you say a target, everyone will target that one target no matter what. If you're all shot calling, then how do you know who to follow? And Roadhog does such an amazing job here on Code7. You can see he ults, pushes everyone back, does a massive amount of damage. Once again, Mercy dying on Luminosity Gaming. The Code7 is doing such a great job at just destroying the Mercy. They never let the Mercy get off res. Not that Luminosity played poorly. It was more so that Code7 just did their homework, had an amazing composition, stayed proactive on their picks, and weren't just reactionary. They made Luminosity react to them the whole game. The whole game. They stayed proactive and they kept the pressure on the flanks. That is why Code7 won this game with such a stomp.